Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the PowettPlay Podcast. As always, it's me, John and Shannon, and Kieran and Powell. How are you, Kai?
Not too bad, Jordan. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad as well. It's a lovely bank holiday Monday here in the UK. The weather's glorious, so can't complain. We're going to continue the chat of the CPL. I know we've obviously talked about players to watch out for. We talked about obviously the CPL all-time 11, the West Indies 11, but we want to look into players whose stocks have risen and also ones who you're wanting a little bit more from, really. Some of which it's out of their hands. Some of which obviously have got to sort of take a bit more ownership and see where they get to, sort of things. And then also, I sort of want to bring to the table a little bit about, obviously, about this leadership and captaincy within each of the franchises. So, in terms of obviously the players that you're wanting to, who you think the stocks have risen, you mentioned Karima Gore earlier. Is he someone who's, it's great to see, he's doing really well, especially being a Leeward Islander?
Yeah, someone I'm very proud of. I have a very good relationship with him. I think probably 3, 4 years ago, he was a bit frustrated with not being able to get an opportunity and play more games. Obviously, he
Yeah,
was a lot younger for the Leeward Islands, but he's someone that kept working on his craft.
yeah,
Understood that the opportunity will come. Obviously the frustrations are there, but the opportunity will come. And
yeah,
when it comes, you have to take advantage of it. And last year he got the opportunity to play for the cricket at bat at number 4 for the Leeward Islands. Had relatively okay season for his first full season. And then now what we're seeing in the CPL, I think he's got 3 half centuries and leading run scorer after
yeah,
6 games. So someone I'm very, very happy for, very proud of because I know that the kind of work that he puts in.
yeah,
And I mean, obviously he's having a good CPL, but I mean, you're not seeing the full, I guess, breadth of him because he bowls left arm orthodox spin as
yes,
well. Obviously, he's a very sharp, very tidy fielder as well. So,
right,
very good cricketer that's improved his stock. The West Indies cricket stock market is what we're looking at here.
yeah,
So
yeah.
he's improved his stock. So very happy for him.
No, I agree. And like I said, it's been good. You mentioned him to me a couple of years ago as well, so I've always been keeping an eye on him. And like I said, it's good to see somebody like that take that opportunity. And then obviously next on the list is someone who we've identified, obviously from an option previously. So obviously Navin Bidaisee, his stock's risen as well since we spoke.
I mean, his stock's been on the rise for a few months now, and this is stock that I bought early, like
I
an
was gonna,
idiot.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
yeah.
So no, this has been a good stock to cash in on. It's
Yeah,
continued to rise.
yeah,
No, he looks good. Hopefully he gets a bit more opportunities to bowl now that they're outside of Sinkis, which is a very small ground.
right.
Young leg spinner, you don't probably want to expose him too much on such a small ground, small margin for error,
Yeah,
and then destroys confidence. So as they go out into bigger fields, fields that probably take a bit more turn. I look forward to seeing him bowl a bit more. His batting as well. I mean, he looks a genuine all rounder because he does pack a
yeah.
punch. He did score a very good half century. So I think that his stock has continued to rise, and it's very good in terms of what the West Indies would be looking for in terms of getting players out of the CPL.
Yeah, definitely. Where would you like to see him utilised from a bowling perspective? Early doors or more in the middle?
I think leg spin is a tricky one. Like you want to try and get him on as soon as the power play is over for at
Yeah,
least even one over. So whether that be over 7, 8, or 9, but you want
yeah,
to get him in early so that you get that nervous energy out of the way, and then
yeah,
he can ease into the rest of his overs. And obviously you want to get him in with the balls a bit harder as well, so he can get
yeah.
a bit more spin, a bit more bounce,
Bit more bounce, yeah.
drift, all these things if
Yeah.
they're available. So I think that would be probably how I would use him. But he looks a calm guy. He got Shaki about stumped the other day after being hit for a six, I think, with a
Yeah, so
bogey.
what you want
So
to see that brilliant. It's good to see
yeah,
something like from a spinner.
yeah, yeah.
No, definitely. And then obviously the three that we've finished with obviously are all quicks, and Shamar Springer is someone whose stock has increased as well.
So he's someone that I wouldn't say that I necessarily forgot about, but because he had an injury, I think he was injured for quite some time.
Yeah,
Because he played for the West Indies and then he sort of missed a huge chunk of the regional season. But What he's done in terms of death bowling and defensive bowling is a skill that the West Indies are seeking now.
Yeah,
Um, that is a specialist skill set that can go a long way, not just for the West Indies, but in franchise cricket on a whole. So I think that,
yeah,
he's putting himself in an amazing shop window at this point in time, because you look at someone like a Dwayne Bravo, someone like
yeah,
a Nathan Ellis right now, and
yeah,
what
yeah,
they're able to do with that skill set. I think that he fits that mold where you're bowling at the back end and you're trying to go at less than tens and over, which
yeah.
is amazing at the back end of the innings, with your variety, your execution, and then he can hit the ball as well, and he's a very good fielder. So his stock is definitely on the rise. He looks good.
Yeah, definitely. And then one I was really glad to see sort of started the campaign really well was in Obed McCoy with that left arm option. I think it was good.
Yeah, someone that has obviously played quite a bit of franchise cricket around the
Oh
world,
yeah,
someone that's played quite a bit of international cricket as well. So he's not someone that's new to West Indies cricket, not anyone that's new to international cricket, into franchise cricket, sorry.
no,
But his skill set is so unique, obviously being a left armer and then having all the variations that he does.
yeah,
So you just never know what's coming, because he's quick enough that he can stick you with a bouncer, but he also has a good Yorker and a very good slow ball
low
as
ball.
well.
Yeah, I was
And
going to
then
say yeah,
obviously the ability to swing the ball, and being left-handed, he's got a lot of things going from. The only thing that, I mean, clearly stands out is he seems to have put on quite a bit of weight. That's not down to the West Indies or any regional board. That's down to him and his
but
own personal pride and being a professional. You have to
yeah,
look after the things that you can control, and that's
yeah,
something that's 100% within his remit. So I think that he needs to look after himself in that department, but his skill set has never been questioned, and it's good to see that he's been on the park for as many games as he has been, because
yeah,
that's been an issue, and he's being able to showcase his skill set.
yeah. Yeah, like you mentioned there, from a professionalism perspective, you can only take that responsibility yourself, and that's down to you to go and do that. And obviously, that might be one of the main reasons why he hasn't featured this calendar year so far for West Indies in the T20. And now, off the back of that, you might get the opportunity in Nepal, which we keep mentioning, where it could open a few doors. But the one that we wanted to finish with, and it's the one that I wanted to ask you about in terms of developing down the line, is obviously Jayden Seales has started really, really well. But my concern with something like that is when it starts to, he's probably on that one where the IPL could be looming for him. And you go back full circle again in terms of how do you manage that workload and that player sort of management aspect to it all.
No, I mean, we start from the IPL perspective. I don't think that will be a problem. I think that will actually be a huge plus for
Right.
his
Okay.
game, because that will obviously increase his development, expedite his development, and that's what the West Indies ultimately need. I think
Yeah.
someone like a Jayden is someone that the West Indies need to use and identify key series or key formats throughout the year in which they
Right.
need to have him available. So he's not someone that should play every game, because now what we're seeing now is that his overall skill set has developed
Yeah.
so much. I mean, obviously, we
Yeah.
talked about the impact that we could visibly see
Yeah.
county cricket had on his game, bowling
That's what I'm
day
going to
in, day
ask
out,
that. Yeah.
repetition. But now that's obviously leaked over into his white
Yeah.
ball side of things. I mean, he's bowling 3 overs up front in the power play, swinging the ball,
Yeah.
providing control, providing wicket taking options, being a swing bowler that is, a lot of boxes ticked. Um, if he only bowls 3 overs up front, he's done a job, because then you can have your middle and death over specialist to finish off the
Yeah.
game. So what he's showcasing against good opposition is that he's an all format, multi-skilled
Definitely.
player, which is amazing for the West Indies, because then you look at a Shamar Joseph,
Yeah.
and Alzari Joseph, a Jayden Seales as all format players,
Yeah.
and then you have a core crux of fast bowlers similar to
Yeah.
what Australia does. And
Yeah.
then you can mix and match other bowlers in and around them across formats, whether it
Yeah.
be an Anderson Phillip, whether it be a Obed McCoy, a Jediah Blades,
Yeah.
whoever you can think of. And
Yeah.
then you have a wide pool now to be flexible with.
Yeah. Definitely. And that's when that they've got to follow that Australian blueprint, let's say, with those quicks, how they pick it, the aim out, the test that they want them to play, in the white ball series that they want them to play. They look after them, that communication takes place. So they know they're not playing, it's rest. Because I like the way that they handled Alzari. I thought that was a good time management perspective from that. But and then obviously he will go to, and he can do, it has that rest to be able to come back. But I was just concerned because we've seen although Shamar's sort of come back a little bit from it, you definitely saw the impact of going to the IPL, not playing, actually had in that sort of April, May time over here in the UK and June as well, really. And I think that I just hope that they get it right from that time, from that game management perspective, so they're not losing any of the momentum that he's currently got them in it.
Hopefully, I mean, ultimately, you'd think that with a T20 World Cup and a 50 over World Cup coming up in succession, I mean, you can rotate these guys. It's never going to be a situation where
No.
all three are off, but it could be these two play this series, then the next two play another series. So you have a core basis of fast bowlers, but
Yeah.
you're still also giving one a
Yeah.
rest for each series, so something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But it's looking good in terms of the
Course it
bowling
is.
stocks.
Of course it is. And with the name that you mentioned just then, obviously Jedi Blades was one of them, and he's a name that we spoke about that sort of we want to see a bit more from. But ultimately, I suppose his hands are tied a little bit because he's not playing.
Yeah, so his stock has been neutral. I've not had any gains, but I've not lost anything either.
Keeping
So
hold of it though.
yeah, just keeping hold of it. Hopefully it could increase. I think it's got huge upside, but we'll see. Obviously the team that he's in, I mean, as you said, it's not anything that he could personally do
No.
in terms of in game time. We hope that he gets an opportunity to play a few games because ultimately that's what West Indies cricket
Yeah.
would need. You see the likes of, as we mentioned, Obed McCoy come back into the fray now. You've seen Ramon Simmons from Barbados as well playing. You've seen Nathan Edward as well. So you're seeing a lot of left arm seam talent come through.
Yeah.
So you don't want, I guess, Ajay Blades to get stuck in his progressional pathway because of lack of opportunities.
No. No. And that's when I look at the Guyana side, and I just think at 36, Dwayne Pretorius, no disrespect to Dwayne, but is that the right is that the right thing for West Indies cricket at this moment in time for a 36-year-old South African to be playing ahead of a prospect and someone who we need to be having game time and understanding their role in a T20 setup moving forward to that World Cup. I just don't think it doesn't make much sense to me, and that's when we want his stock to increase, but it can't. He's not allowed. He's not got the opportunity to go and do so.
Exactly. It's not ideal. You see some things that really stand out throughout the course of the
Yeah,
tournament. Even something like the scheduling. I've had a lot of calls mentioning this after our last episode.
yeah,
You look at the scheduling, for example, with let's say two teams playing 5 games up front, and then you move to another country. So it almost comes across as though like the teams that play their home legs last have the best chance of qualifying for the semifinals and finals because
yeah,
they would have been eased into the tournament. They would have had a
yeah,
chance to gain momentum. They would have a chance to identify this is what we need to do
yeah,
to qualify.
yeah,
I know that, obviously the first thing that they're going to say is it's financial and, they want to get the games out of the way. But I mean, sometimes you have to spend a bit more to make a bit more as well
yeah,
because the
yeah,
quality of the tournament would increase with teams going, playing let's say this weekend at home, you're going away on the road for like another 2 weeks, and then you're coming back and playing next three
yeah,
games and going back again. You might get higher quality opposition. You might get more fan engagement because
yeah,
you've seen some of the games haven't had the greatest fan engagement, with your team being in the hunt for a longer period of time.
yeah.
So, just little things like that, I think would also help.
And to digress a little bit, obviously, from the topic we're talking about, you mentioned there about this fan engagement. They've got, I think, do you think the fan engagement's down because it does feel very samey from a tournament
Possibly,
perspective?
Possibly, like it's been like that for a while, to be fair.
Mm.
But this year is the first time that you've really seen an impact in crowds in terms of physical attendance. I'm
Yeah,
sure the viewership online will continue to be good.
yeah,
But in terms of people coming out, like CPL is definitely a format of cricket and tournament at the time of year that Caribbean people around the entire Caribbean look forward to. So it's been surprising to see the initial turnout
Yeah,
and crowd reception to the tournament.
yeah. And then obviously another one that you're wanting to sort of see a bit more from is Jed Gooley as well.
Yeah, again, sort of not really down to him, the
No,
role he's been given, but this is someone that was selected for the West Indies team to go to Ireland, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
Didn't get his visa approved. So a lot of things that are happening out of his control, but
yeah, of
you'd like to see him get a better opportunity to
course.
have an impact on the game, so that the West Indies could continue to look to develop, um, and invest into him.
Well, that's it really, because you must feel a little bit frustrated because you get that call, you're in the squad, you're going over, for whatever reason he's not managed to get a visa and go, and you think, right, okay, I'm going to go into the CPL and he's batting 6 and 7, and I don't think he's bowled many overs at all.
No,
So again, so that's frustration, and that's where you sort of want that leadership team to be giving that platform to go and do that and go like, here we go. You've had that. I won't say sniff of international cricket, but the idea of it being, you know, there, and if he should be, he could be going taking this, well, ripping this CPL up, thinking, right, I'm undoubtedly I'm going on that plane to Sharjah, and I'm playing in these next T20s for West Indies.
exactly. So, I mean, you can only do so much with the hand that you're dealt.
Yeah, I get that.
So hopefully he gets some opportunities now. I mean, realistically, you look at the CPL for me, and it's just probably Guyana, Trinidad, and St. Lucia that could win it. Barbados probably has an out. Barbados and Antigua probably has an outside chance, if I'd say anything, and Patriots look sort of stuck dead in the water.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. And and then from a batting perspective, you're wanting to see a bit more at the top of the order from Jules Andrew, really, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's young, talented, but I'll tell you something, Caribbean people forget very quickly
Mm.
and they're very fickle. So if he continues to not get scores, it's gonna start having murmurs and whispers around saying, he's not ready. Why are they giving him chances so early? They need to let him develop, etc. So for his sake, I hope that the next 4 games that at a minimum, the next 4 games that Antigua has, he can get some scores. But I don't think as well that it also helps a young 18-year-old batter that he's been all of a sudden thrusted up to open the batting
Yeah,
one,
I agree.
and two, he's opening the batting with Jimbo, which is not the easiest thing because he's then restricted to just hitting boundaries. It's
Yeah,
not as if he can get himself into an innings by rotating the strike. So
yeah,
people have to understand these dynamics and look at, okay, getting out in the 20s, could that have been 40? Could that have been 50 if, he was able to rotate the strike a bit more, all these little things. So,
yeah. I think your point that you made there of understanding the dynamics of that role is a very, very good point. People will be quick to jump on his back and look to criticize, 28 run a ball and here and there, his strike rate side of things. But like you said, it's for someone who is quite dynamic in the wickets and how he goes about. It's not going to be. It's going to be tasky trying to learn on the job as well, really. And that's
yeah,
the way you mentioned as well about them being loaded at the front end of the tournament. They've probably not had that much time to on the training pitch to determine various ways of going about it. They've just been playing, 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 and then you're halfway through a tournament without really that realizing sort of thing.
yep, 100%.
At the start of the pod, I mentioned obviously from a leadership perspective that some of the discussions that me and you were speaking about, and it comes back to this obviously this conversation that we had briefly about sort of Imran Tahir. He's sort of leading Guyana. Then you've got Imad Wasim leading Antigua, Robin Powell Barbados, Jason Holder at St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots, David Visa in St. Lucia, and then Puran at TKR. It's a massive missed opportunity, in my opinion, that we're not. the West Indies aren't incorporating some other leadership in key positions, sorry, key players that they need to sort of start with that. And I wanted to get your take on that and why have they not gone down that route?
This is baffling for me because you look at, for example, the obvious ones in Shea Hope, who's the West Indies
Yeah,
T20 captain and ODI captain. Why is Imran Tahir at 46 captain in the Guyana Amazon Warriors? Like,
yeah,
what benefit is that to West Indies cricket when we know that Shea
yeah,
Hope needs opportunities and experience captaining, especially in the T20 format of the
yeah,
game? You look at a St. Lucia, who is coached by the West Indies head coach. You've got the West Indies Test captain in your ranks, but
yeah.
you've gone for a David Weiser who's probably, what's he, 41, 42,
Yes,
something of
yeah,
that nature. When you could have been given continued experience and exposure to Roston Chase, who plays in all formats of the game for the
yeah.
West Indies as well, and is a senior member of your leadership group. Um, Rovman, Powell, and Puran, I think. I don't really have any qualms with
No,
those two because,
no.
those guys
Yeah,
are T20 freelancers around the world. They would have been experienced and captain teams around the world.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
what they can bring in terms of giving their experience to those dressing rooms that they're in, those players, is invaluable. And then you look at, for example, I think it's the Nevis Patriots. Jason Holder, is he going to captain the West Indies again?
Yeah.
My chances are probably more towards the no than yes. So whilst they have him in the ranks, maybe they could have gone with someone like an Alec Athens, who's a
Mm.
young regional captain, and
Yeah,
have Jason to support and provide guidance to him as opposed to Jason being the captain. Um, I don't think that would have made much difference in terms of um, their salaries or anything. I think you can
no.
still have them in their respective salary brackets, but you help to continue to groom a next potential option for leadership
Yeah,
within West Indies cricket. So I do agree with you. There are some glaring deficiencies there, some mistakes that were made that you know looking not from a franchise perspective, because obviously they will, in their minds, have different
yeah,
goals than those of West Indies cricket. But ultimately, at the end of the day, this tournament is supposed to be serving the beneficial
yeah,
interest of West Indies cricket.
yeah, definitely. And that's obviously all the questions that were coming in when Roston was made Test captain. Straight away, they were talking about his leadership potential and his lack of lead. He's not really captain much. He could have been doing this for 2 years. I appreciate how good Faf has been as a player and being around, but I don't think Faf as a captain or Faf as being around that team is going to be different around the players, and he wouldn't change in terms of how he goes about it. So that would give somebody an opportunity to be around Faf, who's played obviously loads and loads of franchise T20 games, to them, work alongside. And I do think they're missing an opportunity because one thing that was going when they were, everywhere all over the media in terms of when they made the changes is this thing about leadership and this thing about obviously the opportunity for leadership. Well, this is your opportunity. This is your opportunity. Like you mentioned there, great thing for Alec to be around, have that, to start that journey of leadership, and taking on that more key role within that side, and that's how it all starts. And I just think they're missing the boat. I just don't think it sends the right message. For me, it doesn't look good as an image.
Yeah, 100% agree with you.
But
What do we say?
well, exactly that. That's what I
We've
mean. It is what it is. What it is at the end of the day. And I think it's a point that it's good to make, and it's a point to raise. But ultimately, like you said, it is what it is, and you can't really do too much about it at the end of the day. Just to finish up, I wanted to quickly, did you see that the T20 with, sorry, the not the T20, the game with Australia and South Africa?
Yes.
Travis Head finally got back in the runs then, yeah. Jesus.
Well,
Well,
everyone
everyone
got into
did.
the runs. The top three made centuries, and number four got 50 not out.
I
So,
know. I know.
perfect scenario if if you're a batting team.
Just a bit.
430 for two. Yeah,
Yeah, that is definitely someone who I'm worried. Cameron Green at three looks solid. Solid. That is
he's
a
getting better and better each time.
wait till he starts
Yeah.
bowling as well. That's the concern.
Well, I don't think that he can bowl and bat at number three. He won't be able to have a big workload as a bowler.
I just don't. Well, I was going to say his workload. If he continues to bat three, his workload as a bowler will just be just to give the quicks a rest and obviously an extra bit of a bowling option. But no, it's a good display that from Australia, definitely. Anything else we want to break down?
I think we'll keep going back to the stock market and see
Yeah.
what stocks are rising and what stocks are falling.
Yeah, definitely. Some to keep, some you might want to just trade. Who knows? The joys,
100%.
the joys of the stock market.
100%.
But yeah, let us know, guys, if you've missed anyone off there in terms of ones that you think who've gone under the radar, or people who you think in stocks have risen, but also ultimately who you wanted to see a bit more of. Someone who you're thinking, you know what, this is their time and it's just not quite there. Or similar to what me and Kyra discussed, as some players' hands are tied. Is it, their image, is their opportunities being limited, that's out of their control? But do continue to let us know. Do continue to keep liking, subscribing, and thank you very much for joining us this episode of the PowettPlay Podcast.